On today's episode, we're going to talk about the Rockies trade deadline and some updates from Broncos training camp. So stick with us and we will be right back.
Yo, welcome to the show. Let me set the scene. Mile High Sports Symposium, living the dream. Broncos in the house with that orange and blue. Nuggets making moves, watch that altitude crew. Avalanche bringing ice, check the skills they display. Rocky swinging bats, ready for on-game play. Rapids in the mix, kicking it with style. Buffs bring the heat, put the rivals on trial. Chris and JT, they got the scoop. Mile High vibes, feel that energy rise. Sports on the menu, watch the crowd mesmerize. From football to hockey, we're taking it higher. Join the celebration, feel that sports desire.
Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Mile High Sports Symposium. I am one of your hosts, JT Matthews, here with my co-host, Chris Whitwright, and my other co-host, the Doctor, Nicholas Manning. Boys, how are we doing today? I like you do a good job, Chris, with this little tidbit underneath your name here that I never noticed until we actually start recording.
Safe at the plate.
Safe at the plate. I love it. How you doing? How's your Wednesday going?
Good, man. So yeah, everything's going all right. Kids are almost back in school. It cannot come soon enough. Get their butts back in school. So yeah, they're good. What else? Oh, I had my dishwasher and garbage was supposed to go out last week, so that was fun. So I was trying to be all handy as you have to be as a husband. So
some appliance emergencies around here, Doc. How you hanging in there with your appliance emergencies?
Yeah. Mine's not great, Bob. It's not great. So the washer had a tough time, but was able to get that cleaned out and working again. In the process of it, though, it flooded the laundry room. Good times. Got that cleaned up because I got it like that. And then go put everything in the dryer. Dryer's not working. So, other F&A. But, you know what? First world problems, man. Back in my day. Just put them in the sink. You spin them around a couple times. Hang them up
with a soup spoon.
Yeah, that's right, like a witch's cauldron.
That's right. You get your clothes cleaned and you get a potion. 2-in-1 BOGO.
That's where Tide Pods came from.
Yeah. Wait. What about you, JT? How's your Wednesday going?
My Wednesday
good. I like that.
I had a doctor's appointment, so that was quick and easy. Luckily, I came back here and watched some anime with my oldest kid, which was fun. I played some video games. I have been kind of chilling today, which is nice.
Cool.
It's been a low impact day, which I'm appreciative for. The last week or so has been a little bit stressful, so it's a nice change of pace today, which is good.
Cool.
Especially when we get to talk sports and Colorado sports at that. So let's jump off with some Rockies coverage. I know the Doc will be excited, but there were some trades made over the last couple. 2 days ago? I think was the deadline. 2 days ago. So I think Chris is gonna set those up for us.
Yep. So we made 3 deals on trade deadline day. We sent out Senzatela, Brenton Doyle, and Victor Vodnik.
Senzatela. There's a T in it.
Senzatela.
It's like Nutella, but Senza
I can't.
first.
Okay. I am glad. Okay, so let's sidebar. I am glad that man is gone because I can't pronounce his name, so I don't ever have to worry about it ever again, and that's cool.
That's long. He's been 15
right.
with that work for 15 years. That's a lot of stumbles.
I know.
Okuwegbunum.
Right. So Brenton Doyle was sent to the White Sox for Mason Adams and Carlos Velema. And then Senzatela was sent to Milwaukee for Mark Manfred, who is a left-handed pitcher, and a shortstop named Juan Martinez. And then Vodnik was sent to Miami for infielder Connor Norby and right-handed pitcher Aiden May. So, boys, what do we think?
Kick it off.
Yeah. So let's see a couple things of it. We had talked a little bit last week about Seth Holverson trade to LA, bringing up Nick Frasso, who I think actually pitched today. I think, if that's correct, probably. They didn't have a lot. If you think about just Brenton Doyle is hitting a shade over 200. Plays really good defense, but has been hurt a lot too this year. So he played quite a bit over the last week. Just, I think, showcased that he's healthy. Gold glove defender. What's the opposite of gold? Tin foil hitter. Had one really good year, and I think the Rockies were able to flip that 1 good year, 2 good years, I guess. Really like Doyle. It sounds like in the locker room he was phenomenal, all that stuff, but logjam outfield with a guy who kind of hits. And then Senzatela, I think you really do forget that I think he signed with the Rockies before his 16th birthday.
Yeah.
He's been with the org for over 15 years, which is just, you grow up a Rocky, and him and Kyle Freeland's journey have been at similar timings, and so both of those guys being together. So I think that in and of itself was pretty cool, and giving him an opportunity to go play with with a team that has a legitimate chance to compete for a World Series, and then the Miami deal, similar to Holverson, Vodnik throws hard. But misses the strike zone often. I think at some point you gotta cut your losses, and I think a change of scenery probably has got to help. Double V, if you will, if you're friends with him.
I think if you're looking for a signal for this trade deadline, that's probably the signal that we're going to look at and analyze more, is the fact that like Paul DePodesta and Josh Burns want more skilled pitchers rather than guys with just electric stuff. They're looking for, guys who don't hurt themselves or hurt the team in general. So, I found that one interesting in particular.
Yeah. And at least kind of monitoring Miami Marlins Twitter, they like Connor Norby. It seems like he is a guy that can contribute at the major league level. And then Aiden May is somebody that will, I think, move through the ranks pretty quick. And then so Mason Adams from the Brewers was their number 8 prospect, which the Brewers have a really nice farm system. So you're getting a right-handed pitcher that's pretty well thought of, I think. And then, a few guys that jump in your top 30 already. And so I think that's great. So Aiden May is now the 28th. 28th
Adams we got from the White Sox, just to be clear. He was a Milwaukee prospect. We got him from the White Sox.
Yeah, because there's some roundabout dealness in there, right?
Yep. Exactly.
And then Connor Norby was the Marlins 27th. Oh no, sorry. Aiden May was the Marlins 27th prospect. Now the Rockies 28th, which is pretty interesting because Miami had a more well thought of than the Rockies, but they're stacking some players in. So to be honest, for not a lot going out, I mean, Senzatela was really the only plus contributor on the major league roster. They were able to turn it into 8 prospects, which, if 1 hits or 2 hits, that's more than was hitting at the major league level. So I like it, and I like that they were active. With that, I think you have to add into account they signed Mickey Moniak to a 2-year extension. So he was a guy that was on the trade bubble. So instead of him going out, he gets a 2-year extension. I think it's 2 years, 16-ish million, if I recall. And for a guy who was the former number 1 overall pick in yesteryear, who is really kind of filling his own, sounds like he's great in the locker room. you kind of keep those guys like that, plus $8 million for a guy that's going to hit 20+ home runs. It's a pretty good deal, even if he's a Coors Field product-ish. Those home runs still count here. So I like it. You're not letting him. Maybe part of the leverage to get a manageable-ish salary was we won't trade you. You do the deal or you go. And so I like that action. I think that the front office did a good job with the little they had.
Yeah, the Paul DePodesta had a kind of an impromptu press conference. I think he was in the dugout last night, just kind of talking over the deals and even the deals that didn't happen. And it sounds like the Moniak deals, like they weren't they didn't get an offer that really interests them for Moniak or for Freeland or for Goodman. So that's the reason those didn't go. I agree with your analysis. I really like Adams. I think he can probably be a back of the rotation starter. And so eventually, and then I think May can be a bullpen arm, which I think is great for us, especially when we're just sending out guys that are not going to fit what we want to do. I am going to miss Brenton Doyle only because I really like his skill set playing in center field the way he does. Like he's got that defense that I know Drew was talking about how Jake McCarthy reminds him of Juan Pierre and that kind of thing, because I think you have to have a defensive center fielder in when you play in Coors.
Yeah.
I mean, you really have to have two center fielders. Your left fielder and your center fielder have to.
Exactly right.
That is a lot of ground. I think it says a lot about Cole Carrick. My assumption is that probably shows that maybe that's his position now instead of maybe the bounce around between the infield. You have McCarthy who stayed. That was another trade candidate under Goodman. Who probably, I don't know that his value will get higher. And so I think that also communicates like he's our guy, which at some point you got to keep guys. You keep wheeling and dealing to get better draft picks, and at some point you got to keep someone to play. And so I think we're on it, Chris.
Yeah, we talked about this with Drew last week, and we all are kind of in agreement that Hunter Goodman's one of those pieces that you just want to build around. It's really hard to find a catcher who hits that many home runs, who is that skill. He's not the best defender, so let's not pretend that he is. But, I mean, he's getting better behind the dish, and that's something you can build around. So that's something I want to continue to build around, and I'm very much okay saying, you know what, Hunter Goodman's just going to be a foundational piece for us, and that we're just going to go forward with that. So the other thing to throw a little bit of shade on kind of what they did, I'm glad they did the deals that they did, but for me, it still seems like we still have a logjam at outfield. Like we really should have maybe dealt one or two more guys. Like I'm okay keeping Mickey Moniak if you were going to send out McCarthy or somebody else. So maybe Zach Veen can get some run at the big league clubs because he's just crushing it at Albuquerque. So I don't know where else.
And Condon,
yeah, exactly right.
Where's Condon going to play now? Because Cal Karras has turned into a dude. How cool is it though that we are having an issue now that we have too many players that aren't crappy.
It's a good problem to have, but also I'd like to get really like to see what Zach Veen can do, because then you can say this is another Hunter Goodman piece that we can build around. He can play left or right or whatever, and then figure it out from there. So at some point we have to start figuring out what these assets are. Like it feels to me like Mickey Moniak is just a transitional piece until you find your outfielder. So
I think that's accurate, because then you bring up Jordan Beck, who is kind of similar to all of the things.
Yeah, he's exactly right.
He's a beast of a human being, but he's also a guy who hasn't really figured out hitting at the major league level. And so you got Jake McCarthy, you got Moniak, who are both youngish, but young on like a competitive team, not they're old on a youthful. But maybe they're good vets and they're setting the stage for Cole Carrick and Beck, even, who was born in 2001. Good gracious. Their old men are McCarthy, who's 97, Tyler Freeman in 99, Moniak in 98.
You're just trying to make me feel old, and I don't appreciate it.
I don't. I'm not feeling great about that either. Let's keep it. keep it
Well,
real.
If you want to feel old, one of the prospects the Rockies got
I wonder why. I wonder why maybe because if you're, I think the hope is next year you're kind of on the cusp for competing for a wild card, right? Which is really if you're hovering around 500 into the second half of the season, you're a competitive ball club. Why not move Zach Veen or to a team and maybe get a 4-starter or a younger guy with some stuff that maybe a team doesn't want to look to resign, things like that I think that they could have done if they really felt like, we got 5 good outfielders. There's only so many you can keep at the major league level. Zach Veen won't be a young outfielder for much longer. Charlie Condon can't stay in the minor leagues much longer. Like he'll literally hit the roof off. And so at some point, you got to do that. And if you're not going to trade your major league chips, then why not trade your minor league chips? Even if it's minor league chips for other minor league chips or other pitchers or, maybe talented high upside, but much younger minor leaguers. I think that there were things to do or that they could have done. It also is their first season at the helm. So maybe those phone calls just weren't as plentiful. But yeah, I think they did a lot for who they traded. I think that there still feels a lot to be desired. That's for sure.
Yeah, JT, you wanted to make us feel old?
Yeah, if you want to feel old, Carlos Vilma was born in 2009. He is 16 years old.
No, he wasn't.
He was.
Papers or it didn't happen, Danny Almonte.
That's insane. That makes me feel old for sure.
No joke. Yeah, again, you can't get much younger than trading for a 16-year-old, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So.
Trading for a sophomore in high school. Oh,
Right.
good gracious. Wow.
Oh.
Yeah, so
like his team picture. Yeah, his team picture is it's the avatar. It's not even like of him. Yeah, this is not. His mom didn't sign the waiver.
So what do we think of these players going out? Doyle and Vodnik and Senzatela. I mean, do we think is this going to be a big miss for the current season, or are we just going to kind of keep rolling on? It feels to me like we were sucking with them, so we're going to suck without them, so it doesn't really matter, in my opinion. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Brenton Doyle hadn't really played, and to be honest, again, when he did 2 hundo. You legitimately have 5 better hitting outfielders, plus Jordan Beck was hitting better than Brenton Doyle, better on the base pass. Obviously, Doyle is a great defender, but you can't defend when on the bench. Senzatela, I think, was pitching really well, but he started to get hittable. I think he wanted to deal before that ERA gets too high, and then Vodnik couldn't hit the strike zone. So I think he'll be a guy that probably will figure it out in sea level or something, and then we'll be cursing the day. But I think to get a couple quality prospects back, I think you feel pretty good. Is it going to hurt the major league team? Not really. Again, they swept Kansas City, and now they're on the verge of being swept. It wasn't great with Vodnik, and it wasn't great last night. So I don't think it fixes. I don't think it makes it didn't make the issues with the team worse. And so you know what, you do it, and you suck it up for next year.
Yeah. Do we think there's any other signal that was presented at this trade deadline? I know this is DePodesta's first with the Rockies. So, and we already mentioned kind of going through guys who are a little bit more polished rather than having electric stuff. But is there any other signals that came out with any of these trades that we can latch onto from a strategy standpoint?
Yeah, well, they only brought back infielders and pitchers.
Yeah.
And so if we remember in the draft, they brought back 2 well thought of hitting catchers. Both of them were college grads. And so both of those guys, I assume, will probably have a quicker route if they continue to hit to the major league level. So they didn't bring back a catcher or any outfielders. So it's pitchers and infielders, which, Willie Castro has played really well. He'll his contract will expire next year. I don't think he's a long-term piece. He's but probably a starter. So maybe you flip him in the offseason or next year. Eduardo, Julian has not been good at all.
Yeah.
And so you're hoping maybe a Connor Norby can be a solid utility guy for you. Sounds like he folks in Miami really wanted that for him. And then you hope the other guys, can stick to some level or degree. But from what I've read, the pitching prospects, I think, it's leaning more to they will make a major league impact than not. I think anytime that you're getting a prospect, it's a pretty good feeling, at least to have, of the likelihood that it'll work out for a team that needs it.
Yeah, my only issue with Norby was the fact that he doesn't play middle. He hasn't really played middle infield at the major league level, so he's only played third and first. And for me, it would have been nice to get a middle infielder, somebody who can maybe be your transitional piece as a second baseman rather than rotating Castro and those guys out of that spot. So that's my only takeaway from Norby. So I think he's a decent player. I think he'll be better.
It is a little weird to have a utility guy who primarily plays on that edges, but maybe they didn't feel really good about their backup options at first or third right now. Maybe Castro, he is a middle infielder. Julian is, like I said, has not been good. And so hopefully maybe it's a little bit more of all right, we got someone for the middle infield. Castro's good at those. Tovar's starting to play again. Thank goodness for his soul.
No joke.
Being at the game the other day, just like you're watching a guy struggle, and it was hard. It was hard. You just feel for him, and then last couple of days, he's playing baseball again, hitting a bomb and a couple ropes and stuff, and so
good.
You hope it's not too early to give up on a guy like that. So we should.
Hey Nick, what was the over under for the Rockies? The rest of the season.
It was. What was it before? It was. I think it was 6-3.
Okay.
Do we
feel good like they're going to? If I set the number at 65 wins this year, are you taking the over or the under?
Ooh, 65. It would be. Oh no, sorry. The win total for this season was 54.5.
Okay.
Like now it is. Now it's moved up. Now it's moved up to 61.5.
Okay.
So
all right, then I'll set it to 62.5.
Yeah.
Are we taking the over? Or are we taking the under?
I am gonna take. So right now the Rockies sit at 45 and 69. Nice. Yeah. I think they can get 20 wins. Yeah, I think they can.
Okay. JT, you think they can get 20 wins down the stretch? No.
You don't think they can get 20 wins when they've got 45?
I think they can. The moves they made just aren't that, they didn't do anything for their current roster. The track, obviously they could. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm just saying if I were to bet, I think that they've had some good moments this season. But it's still a young team, and I think teams coming down the stretch, it's going to get more competitive. Teams are going to buckle up as far as those teams that are playing for wild card spots. So it's not going to get easier as you get to the end of the season. That's for sure.
That's a solid take. Yeah, I think I'm right at like 63 is what they'll get to. I'll be interested to see what happens in September if they, if Mickey Moniak all of a sudden gets a, hamstring pull and they're like, we want to look at all these guys, so we're going to bring up Veen and Congdon, and they're playing every day rather than Jordan Beck, and maybe McCarthy gets a little less playing time. So I'll be interested to see what happens. All right, we ready for some Broncos talk? We have anything else that we want to wrap on the Rockies?
I think it's Broncos team time.
Love you, Jay. And again, I'm not saying I'm his favorite fan. He's just saying I'm his. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
I mean,
that's it.
So for those of you who don't know, the Orange and Blue Network has a fantasy football league, and I named my team Jonah Coleman's favorite fan. So
Yeah, he calls his mom about you. I've heard.
So
Real bromance.
He's like, "Hey, mama, yeah, that Chris be tweeting about me again."
yep. Gonna have to renew that restraining order.
That's right. Yeah, you just gotta add some extra distance.
Right.
All right. I think we're gonna talk Broncos, but we got some ads.
Oh,
I don't like calling them ads. Promotional stuff, whatever we want to call them.
Yeah, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, algorithm, all the things. Orange and Blue Network, it's dope. Also, if you are following and subscribing, once we get to 1,000 subs on YouTube, we will be finding one lucky winner to get this Nick Bonito signed mini helmet. Mini helmets are dope because they're cool and they're small, which means you can throw them around like I like. And then we have some dope shows.
Lots and lots of dope shows on the network. Mondays and Fridays at 11 a.m. You got Orange and Blue Blitz, Broncos Bros. Mondays at 7, Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m. You've got Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue. Ourselves, of course, Wednesdays at 2:30-ish p.m. Broncos Talk Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mile High Outcast Thursday at 7 p.m. Our Spanish Broncos show Friday at 6 p.m. Viva Los Broncos. And then you got breaking news, pregame, play-by-play, postgame, and every game day. Fresh squeeze, get bucked, the bucking booth, and buck your feelings. So lots and lots and lots of Broncos coverage on the network. If that's what you're here for, you've got a plethora of options. So don't sleep on it. Add everyone on Twitter, the socials, but especially on the Blue Network. Like we said, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and get yourself a chance to win a Nick Bonito signed mini helmet.
Yeah, could get you one of those. In the meantime, be a chance. You want a haircut? You want to look a little fly, and not pretty fly for a white guy, but just fly in general. Go find you Lily's Beauty Salon, located on 11776 Kearney Way, up there in Thornton, Hart Streets of Thornton, former neck of the woods there. And then finally, your kids aren't at school yet, so I know that you got to stay up, get things done, all the things. So get you some Dubby. Please use responsibly. Don't listen to me. I'm not a medical professional. No sugar, no calories, no whatever that is. If you can't pronounce it again, don't put it in your body. And if you want, you can get a little discount. You get 10% off. Order your checkout, OBN10. Orange and Blue Network, 10% off, or Boney X, because it's 10. And then see, just how dope. This was my Christmas gift from my son, Zanny. Mini helmets are dope because it's a helmet, but mini. You can it can go. You can throw it up a little bit. If it hits you, it doesn't knock you out like a real one will. Things like that. So just
is that the selling point?
Is that a what?
So that's the selling point, is that you can throw it.
If it is thrown, you just
right.
Have you ever been hit with a helmet before? They hurt.
No.
Right. Ask Mason Rudolph how.
Yes. Thank you. If it was a mini helmet, my man probably would be a much better player.
Yeah, that definitely took him back a few steps for sure.
I don't know.
I mean, it didn't help.
Right.
It's hard to compete with a dent really lodged in your dome piece. My man looks like an old orange now. It's just dimply.
All right. Well, let's transition to Broncos talk. We'll get to that. We'll get to some quarterback to talk. Who wants to set the table for what we've seen at camp thus far? It's been 5 days now? 5 days.
5 whole days.
2 padded practices now. Some injuries. Maybe we start on the injury front a little bit. I think that's probably the best way to jump off. Today, Jaylen Waddle missed some time. It was quoted with some muscle tightness. So he is going to miss a little bit of time, presumably a couple days. Hopefully we'll get him back in the mix here soon. Yesterday, Nick Benito went down. It was down for a little while, but it sounds like lower body, fairly minor injury, but they're gonna, play it safe. And who else? Someone else went down. The center,
Wattenberg
went down.
Same thing.
I don't know if he was a full
participant
today.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think so.
Look.
Nor was Court. So Court got, I think, like a second vet day, which just, you made it when.
Right.
But it doesn't sound like any of the injuries are anything substantial. I think they are precautionary, which is good. For any of you who maybe aren't in the Denver metro area, we've gotten cooled off the last couple of days, but it's been like oven hot because of the smoke from wildfires and all that stuff. It's just been a lot. So I'm not shocked that guys are cramping or higher likelihood of pulling some stuff or things like that. It just has been it's been a little but
I think it's good because like Nick Benito has been a veteran in the system. Like Jaylen Waddle may be a little bit more concerning because he hasn't been in the system as long as Cortland Sutton has or Nick Benito has. So I think that's a little bit more concerning than I have, because if Benito needs like a couple extra days to get it right, then I'm not too concerned that he's going to come in and completely forget how to play and dominate like he did last year. So, but yeah, Jaylen Waddle was killing camp, like apparently just blowing everybody away with how good he was. Yes. Looking really good, getting that connection with Bo Nix. And I'm hoping he comes back a little bit earlier than expected, because he still needs to get those reps with Bo. And so we establish him as a true wide receiver one.
Yeah, I agree. I think the defense is winning camp so far. Yep. The offense hasn't done terribly. I think that there's one day where there was a consensus the offense got it. But to be honest, one training camp, it always favors the defense to start. There's not as many pad days and all that stuff. It's hard as an offensive lineman to not really be able to hit people and stuff. And then you wonder why like the run game doesn't click right away. But I think one of my big stock up, I market all of the good stuff that we is Riley freaking Moss, bro.
Man.
My man is stuck to them like on rice, and he is. Thank you. He's really ascending, and I think what I really like from what I got from camp is he's come down with the ball. He has been a guy that has pass breakups. He is in position a lot, but not a ton of ball production. I think one interception each year as a starter. I think for him to really elevate his game, getting that one to like a 3 or a 4, this defense needs to be better with takeaways. But him having more confidence to be able to make a play on the ball and take him away. He had a similar play as Jaquan in the playoff game with Court. Went up a jump ball, which if Court's in a jump ball, it's like 70-30. And not only did Riley go up and make a play on it, but came down with it. And so I think he's really ascending as a player. And so it's a good problem to have. You have a first-round pick who can't get on the field. It's because you got a third-round pick who ain't letting him. And I think that's I'd rather have a for sure thing than a maybe thing. And I think Riley's showing that maybe his time in Denver isn't just this season.
The another ascending player is Marvin Mims. So for the wide receiver 3 role, he is killing it. Like apparently Jaylen Waddle's talking him up. He's actually like putting together consistent days in practice, which is for me is the biggest question with him, because in the past years he breaks out one game, has a whole bunch of production. We think, he's taking a step, and then we don't see him for 3 weeks. And then he takes a step, same thing, don't see him for 3 weeks. So getting that consistency where he's like, I'm the guy who's going to be the wide receiver 3 on this team, I think is perfect for him, especially in a contract year. So Riley Moss, Marvin Mims, both in contract years. We'll have to see how that plays out.
Yeah, he's. I think essentially 4 out of 5 days he's been a standout, at least from not just made a good player here or there, but has really stepped his game up. And I don't know. I wonder what your take, JT, is that he's playing better, or and maybe alluding to what Jay's getting to, or are they doing a better job of having him be a focal point? They catch the ball if they don't throw it to you, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think he's improving. I've heard that Pat Bryant's playing well too. It sounds like these young guys are pretty motivated and revved up to get the season started. So it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if PR was doing a little bit a better job making sure his name gets out there. But I think from what I've heard from people who are actually at camp is that looks dynamic, looks electric, looks ready to go. And so, potentially could he be trade bait at some point? I wouldn't definitely take that off the table, especially with how Pat Bryant has looked in camp thus far too. But, he's a valuable piece to this team as is right now. So I think you just got to allow him to kind of go through the paces at camp and see what happens.
Do we think he has a market, just out of curiosity? I mean, he's a Pro Bowl punt returner, so he can, at least help out in special teams at the bare minimum. Those guys always seem to get traded. If memory serves me, last year or maybe the year before, Tank Bigsby got traded right before the season started, and it was because he could return kicks. So those guys seem to find their way into trade talk. So that's an interesting thought that we're showcasing him for, maybe to move on to something else. Because I agree with JT. I think you've got Troy Franklin and Pat Bryant behind him that could stand to use more reps, especially with Bo Nix.
Yeah. Doc, you go.
Yeah, I think there is a market, could be a market. Jacksonville, I don't know if they knew how good they were going to be when they traded Bigsby last year. Maybe they did. But I do know that the Broncos know how good they were and expect to be. And so it really has to be, what do they got in the grocery basket? If they would at the pantry, you know what I'm saying? What do they got?
The cart, possibly the
larger. What do they got in the cart? You got it. As opposed to the one on the shelf. I think he just means more to this team than he does somewhere else. So really it'd have to be a return. My thought would be, maybe it's player for player or something like that would behoove them. But
okay.
It doesn't hurt to create the market. I mean, whether or not you like to showcase him to have the option, it's better to have the option and also feature him enough to see if the kid can play. Can he be your third? Because then you have maybe the fears that you have a redundant skill set between him and Jaylen Waddle. You have two smaller guys as your top three receivers. But maybe he's just too dang good to not be out there, right? Again, he was the leading receiver in Texas State history, which has produced some really good receivers. Yes, he was.
I'm sure he was. I don't care what he did in high school.
But I'm saying the guy's got talent from it. So it's not just like this guy's like you found him maybe he's good enough, and when you give him the ball, he has shown to be good enough. Maybe they're just like, all right, he's good enough. Let's just give him the ball. But
I don't think the question was ever talent. I don't think it was ever talent. I think it was I can't consistently stack good days for the coaches to trust me and put me on the field. Yes. Otherwise, they would have done it. So
and you're talking about practice days.
Yeah, I think his usage has been up and down his entire career, and I think that points to anything. I think that points to another factor playing in other than talent. I think it is. Hey, I can't be trusted to run the correct route, or I can't be trusted to understand when Bo calls an audible that I know where I'm going. So again, I don't think it's talent as a question with Marvin Mims. I think it's consistency. So, I think
that's fair.
Although I do want to ask you a question since you brought it up, since we think it's going to be maybe player for player, what position would you like that player to play if Marvin Mims goes out the door? Tight end.
Tight end. Yeah.
Really?
I think I'm tired of hearing the Evan Ingram he's killing it. There's no one playing defense. I've heard the last few days, especially in run drills on padded days, it's not going well. The people are like, well, Zach Ertz got cleared. My knee is healthier than Zach Ertz's knee. Just saying. And not that I wouldn't vet men or something. I don't know. But I think if you do that, I think something like that, you don't know what's going on with Cooper. Maybe that's a edge piece or something like that. But I think, and I just mean more of what would you have to get back for next year to justify losing a really, really, remember, he's an all-pro returner. No, it's just special teams. He's an all-pro returner, right? Like he is good. He is so good at the thing. They have to alter how they kick because of it, which affects the return game and all that stuff. Against the Bills, he had 8 for 98 or whatever. Like he was a dog. So if you're going to remove that, assuming that like everyone else is healthy, Franklin plays like he did last year, Pat Bryant, who's my guy, I love Pat Bryant, is playing well, all that stuff. So everyone ascends, no one's hurt. Like, what would you have to get to look at your team the next day, like in the meeting room, and say, hey, we're still trying to compete for a championship. We're good. We just, we traded Marvin for a 4th round pick because we feel like that was good value. Like, I don't know about you, but I would be mad at it, and I'm not playing. If you're Bo Nix or I'd be pissed. You're like, what? I'm trying to get a ring. So that's my take, is like, you'd have to bring back something to either show your team or to add to the team to say, hey, told you, like, we're in it. Or, it's a 2nd round pick next year. Yep. Sorry. Marvin's good. He ain't 2nd round pick good again or whatever. If you were able to get something like that where the value is just, sorry. Yep. I feel pretty good about telling you guys that's what he was worth less than, and we got it, and go play better. But it has to be something that the players get, So yep. I would think something like that. You never want to assume like injury, but offensive line, if something were to those kind of things. Or maybe it's just a change of scenery guy for a change of scenery guy, right? Like, you never know. Those kind of things happen sometimes, but.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree. If you're trying to address something now, tight end makes sense. I always like when you can get a guy in the trenches, so I would lean offensive or defensive line too. But really, I think that as constructed today, I think my initial thought was like, well, linebacker would be good, but I think there's a lot of good young linebacker talent on this roster. I don't know that changing out one young guy for another young guy at that position matters as much. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, because I think really probably if you're creating a trade market, probably what you want is picks, or a pick.
Yeah.
Especially with the way the roster is set right now, there's no. As far as roster construction goes, I think it's considered one of the strongest in the league, and so you can get additional depth piece, but that's probably all you're going to get. And for Mims, would be fine, I suppose, but I think you're allowing more to walk out the door potentially than you would get in return there. You may as well hold tight. I think if that's the case, if it's just player for player, I'd rather get some sort of at least value that you could trade later, or that could turn into a developmental player down the road, especially when some of this roster turns over. So, okay. Time will tell. But I think right now there's no reason to not hold on to him. It's not like all the guys behind him are knocking on the door. I think there's a lot of talent in the room. I think there's a lot of excitement about some of the guys in the room, but Pat Bryant will probably need another year of development before he starts hitting his stride, even though he's had some good moments at camp. There are guys like Hakeem Butler that are back there that are exciting, but I don't know what their, long-term, what their value is to a team. I certainly don't think it's necessarily as good as what Mims could be. So yep. I don't know. I'm content with holding on to him unless you get something that you really want.
I think that is completely fair for what it's worth. I think Nick's and yours points are well founded. Where we're letting somebody go who's actually like an all-pro at a position that we're going to need, especially down the stretch. So if he develops, we're in a window to win now. Let's keep that window and keep the player, and then we'll deal with the contract issues and the free agency issues later. So well founded. So since Jay brought it up, do we want to talk about quarterback 2? It's Jared Stidham versus Sam Ehlinger for the quarterback 2 spot.
Yeah, I mean, I can just kick it off and just say that it sounds like there is the gap between them is closing or has closed. Ehlinger's look pretty sharp at times. It does sound like there's some concern about some of the throws over the middle. Maybe he throws a little too high, can lead receivers a little too much. Worry about a potential injury there. If he doesn't rein that in a little bit, but it seems like he is working well with Webb, and it looks like he's understanding what's expected of him. So I think that is an interesting battle to keep an eye on. Stiddy, we loved Stiddy last year. Unfortunately, when we got to the playoffs and we needed him to produce, it just didn't happen. And so, I don't think anyone's super tied to him being the quarterback 2 moving forward, but I think you've got to have a guy that actually is pushing for that spot. And if that's the case with Ehlinger, it wouldn't surprise me if he surpassed him.
I think I like Ehlinger's athleticism a little bit better. I think he makes a little bit more of a dynamic player rather than Stidham. So, and I think if you're going to be a backup quarterback, you probably are not going to be winning with your arm. So you got to find different ways to win. And I think being able to run for first downs and use your legs and that kind of thing to extend drives, I think is important. So if it's me, I think I'm leaning more towards Ehlinger. I don't care. Yeah, again, as good as Stidham has been in his career, and he has certainly earned a backup quarterback paycheck, I don't think he's anything special. So I'd be okay moving on from him for what it is worth. Nick, what do you got?
Sure.
Okay.
No, it
doesn't matter.
No, I mean, Bo Nix gets hurt. It's a wrap. Let's do the thing. Let's all keep it real. Anytime you lose your starting quarterback, if you have a really good starting quarterback, if you feel like your season can still be saved by your backup, your starter wasn't that good. Anyway, look at Carson Wentz. Carson, pour one out for the homie. I like the room, and I think it's a little bit more of a culture of it. It sounds like the 3 of them get along. They build each other up. I think Stidham is able to help process the playbook better. I think you have to account for that as a backup quarterback. Your job isn't just to play. It is, are you making the starter better? Depending on what the reason is that you're there, right? If you're a high upside guy, then it's more about what you can do on the field. If you're a vet, it's more about what do you bring to the room.
No, I like my backups like Joe Flacco.
I mean, I wonder why we never got that Joe here.
Well, yeah, to be fair, Joe has never been that guy. He's never wanted to build up anybody else but himself, and that's fine. But
no. Joe's a murderer. He's trying to go get stats. It's like I still got a shot at.
He's like, I can still get paid this league. Let's go.
Yeah.
He is. He is. So nice job, Joe. I think both of them make the team. It would be interesting. I think your point is great, Chris. And I want a guy who, because once your offense goes, like neither of them can throw it like Bo. So do you want a guy who? The problem is Ehlinger throws it way worse though, and so
no question.
Is he run it enough to is triple option available? For a game, I think for a one game, for a one game, I'd love Ehlinger just to I think he's gutsy and competitive. I think he, at Texas there was some of that. I think a little bit you got to see his time in Indy. I think if it's like a 4-game stretch, I'd probably rather have Stiddy because I think he can conduct an offense. I will not crap on him for the entire AFC Championship game. That was such a losing scenario.
Yeah,
You get
it's
a
tough, man.
snowstorm. You haven't played in more than 2 years. You had a meaningful snap, and then to do it at that stage, it's not as much as we all hyped ourselves up. Like, when it started to fall off, like we all knew, like snap it. If he had a couple weeks to do it, could he get you 2-2? Especially in the back half of the schedule this season. I think he can. If he can do that, I think that's good enough backup play.
It's fair.
That's fine. Like, and I don't have a problem with either of them being the backup. I just think Ellinger at least brings something.
I mean, neither of them are good enough where if they were cut, I'd be like, no. Like it just if the other guy if Sean was like, yeah, if Sean's like, hey, we moved out, this guy's our 2, I'd be like, oh, good call.
But do you want them to hold? Do you want them to keep 3 quarterbacks this year? I mean, it would make sense for them to move on, right?
Yeah. Do I want them to? No, I think keeping 3 quarterbacks is dumb. Because if you get to your 3rd quarterback, it's a wrap. I'd rather use that roster spot for a guy that can get. But if Ellinger is like, hey, we're gonna have goal line reps for him or something, then sure. Then he's a football player. The only thing about that, though, is if he's on your roster, you can have the extra jersey for a game day. You don't get afforded that if you shuttle him up from the practice squad and have a 3rd. So I think, or I guess it doesn't matter. But no, I'd rather have 2 and a practice squad guy and save that for someone that contribute on special teams or someone that like they're cultivating Ellinger for himself, right? Like you're not going to get any capital for him. No one's going to sign him to a big enough deal where it pushes or provides you with compensatory stuff. Like he just hasn't or won't earn it by then. So you're just doing it to do it, which isn't a bad way. That's how you keep bringing other guys in here, is the word of the street. But I'd rather have a guy who can make 12 tackles a year on special teams. Which seems like really
backup quarterbacks. JT, do you want to talk about Taysom Hill?
Yeah,
a guy that will make 12 tackles a year on special teams.
Yeah, that's right. There's been some rumors that has been addressed by Sean Payton about the potential of bringing Taysom Hill in, just signing him. He just recently left the Saints. There's potential that he could end up on the Broncos. I just wanted some takes on how you felt about that. If you felt it was a necessary move, an unnecessary move, a needle moving move, how does it land with you guys?
Let me go first, since
go ahead.
And then you can bring us back. I say yeah. But I think he's a guy that you probably wouldn't bring in until like after the first preseason game if you were to bring him in. If I'm him, I'm not coming to get hit. Like if you want me on the team, you're going to sign me then, just like you'd sign me today, probably, maybe even more then. If you're coming to Denver, the offense, then that is an added bonus of why I don't need to be there. He's going to have package plays. I would love that instead of Sam Ellinger. I think he's a better version of that. Plus, he gives you a wrinkle, 5-6 times a year. Like that's something that you have to game plan for, even if you don't do it. They have to devote attention to it because for as like weird and as not good as he is at a lot of stuff, go look at like his fantasy stats. Like he's a contributor and like he scores touchdowns and yards. Like he is a guy that has impacted football games without being the starting quarterback. He also, if I do recall, has a pretty damn good record as a starting quarterback in relief. So for as much as he's like not good. He's like not good at any, he's not a NFL caliber tight end in the sense of like line him up and he's not a good quarterback. Maybe you give it he's like a running back, but he's a guy that can do all of the things. On top of cover punts, he's the punt protector and stuff. Like he's what Tim Tebow should have done. And Tim Tebow would have been a 10-year.
I think Tim Tebow tried and couldn't get it done, and that's fine.
He tried after it was too late. Like the wave had passed. It was after he went to baseball, and he's like, okay, you're like 30, man. Like no one wants to stop it. However, I think
this
the
is only
point
34.
probably that you would get at, both of you, is like, I don't know who, because the tight end room underwhelms me a little bit. Just as of no, like, I don't. Justin Jolie had a good practice once. We won't know till I want to see preseason games before I jump on any hype with just because it's such a hard position to learn. And so maybe that room, you kind of, you call him a tight end, but he's not good enough. I think that you would bring him in. Like they actually just have enough offensive talent where you don't have to get gimmicky if you don't want. And to be honest, you can get gimmicky with Jaylen Waddle, RJ Harvey. Mims can throw, Cortland Sutton can throw. Like, you can jerk around and do some stuff with that. Like, you have enough issue with guys getting touches as it is to then have like 6 a game or whatever, few a game for Taysom Hill. So I wouldn't be mad if they did, because if they did, it's a bottom roster guy probably. And then just the fear of what people have to game plan for him would be good. Or you sign him to the practice squad. Like, if you sign him to the practice squad, I'm all for it for sure. Like, that doesn't bother me whatsoever. So any of those things, but yeah, bring him in. If he gets signed, I'm buying a Taysom Hill jersey.
Okay. Here's my thing.
All in. Easy for Sheezy.
He's 35.
Dude, that's young, bro.
I
play softball. Okay. Old man softball, 43.
2, he is a Sean Payton guy. It's not a Davis Webb guy. And if we're trying to transition away from a Sean Payton offense where Sean Payton falls in love with these gimmicky guys to Davis Webb, where we want Davis
Webb likes Evan Ingram. Tell me there's not a more gimmicky guy than that. Okay.
Again, we're trying to transition away to give Davis Webb all the tools he needs to be a successful offensive coordinator. And signing Taysom Hill doesn't do that. It says Sean Payton's going to be a little bit more in
Davis Webb wants him.
Okay. You're never going to convince me that is the case.
I also agree with you. I think your point is right on. I'm being
yes. It's fine. Again,
I think if you want Davis Hill, he's got to be the guy that moves that needle.
I don't know who Davis Hill is.
Cute. Davis Webb.
There you go.
It's Antonio Senzatela's brother.
Senzatela?
Since Samsonite.
Shut up.
Samsonite.
But I think your point is great. It's I think Davis Webb wants to spread the ball around. I don't think he wants to get there's going to be wrinkles, I think, in what he'll do, but I don't think he's going to be running just stupid stuff. I think he's going to
totally agree.
I think he's going to want to show he's the smartest guy in the room by just nuances of what they run and hey, watch this tweak here. That's how I get him there and do the thing, not triple. What is it? The annexation of Puerto Rico.
Right. Yeah. Again, let's let David Webb establish his identity with the team.
Yeah.
And if you bring in Taysom Hill, I don't think that shows that. So again,
you're right. That's a Sean Payton move, and if Sean Payton isn't the coordinator, that's a good move. Good call. You win.
Yep. Hooray! Chris is the winner. Speaking of the Davis Webb, Sean Payton thing, Zach Stevens I believe he's from DNVR, Broncos, had an interesting tweet a couple days ago. He said that Sean Payton said he will be in Davis Webb's ear with play calls at times. Some of the times it will be suggestions, other times it will be mandatory. This is the problem that I'm having with Sean Payton and Davis Webb, and this is why it was my main concern coming into camp, is that I want Davis Webb to get a fair chance to establish himself, call plays, take over the reins of the offense, and it sounds like Sean Payton is not going to let that happen. So I am really concerned about this tweet and about this development, because he was kind of hinting at the same thing at the combine at his press conference, where he was like, well, I'm still going to be involved and that kind of thing. And I think really what we want as Broncos fans is we want Davis Webb to at least get a chance to prove himself a reliable play caller or not. So, Sean Payton can be his, safety net if it just all goes awry. But it sounds like Sean Payton's not going to let that happen. So I am very concerned about that whole relationship and kind of what that means for the Broncos offense going forward.
Yeah. I heard Zach elaborate on it a little bit. And I think because Benny Fowler said the same thing, you can't have 2 play callers. It just
100%.
Up to and including, he said, Sean's not going to call plays. And maybe the conversation went around, like, is it that Sean's going to be like, I want you to run this phrase, right? Like this whole play. Or is it going to be, hey, I want you to run. I want your best run player. I want something attacking this corner. That stuff coaches do all the time. Like,
Sure.
Yep, no, it's third down. Like, I won't run the damn ball. And maybe give you a suggestion, or if it's that, then one, he should, because he's the head coach. Two, Davis should listen.
Yeah.
Because Sean Payton's really good. But if it is that, like you said, Chris, that's you're undermining, right? Because everyone knows, or if you have 3 bad calls in a row or something, everyone's going to look to Sean and be like, is it now? You know, and not even if you do it, but the fact that you might do it.
Yep.
I think it creates an instability for Webb. If I'm Davis Webb and you call a play, one, if it wasn't the play that I want either, you know, because there's something to be said if like you both see eye to eye and he's like, run this play, and you're like, actually, yeah, that's a great call. But if he's like, hey, run this play action on 3rd and 12, like, that's dumb, Sean. That's dumb. We're not going to, like, I'm not going to do that. What happens if he doesn't do it and he runs what he wants, right? Do they keep that in-house? You know, maybe that's all right. Sean's like, hey, I really want this play. And Dave's like, nope. And Sean eats it and he's all right with it. Like, that, to me, if that's the dynamic, then that's fine. But if it is, I have to supersede you, like, you do not have autonomy. Because if we saw this, we saw it with Vance Joseph. Vance Joseph was propped into his chair as the head coach. The players started to really figure it out, and that's when the culture decimated.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it has anything to do with Vance being a bad coach. It had to do with the players not believing, or correctly believing, that he had limited power, like, scope. Sorry, man. Like, why am I going to listen to you? Like, John's making all the calls. We know it. We see it. You know, and there was a point where I think Vance even kind of gave it up a little bit. And and that's an awful place to be, regardless of what work environment you're at, your home life. You know, Chris, you know how it is. Like, when your wife just tells you how much you suck.
No, I don't have any idea. So
just kidding. I know. Hey, you know what? If I would have just put this there, Nick, it would have. But
if
the sad part
is, towels were just in alignment.
That's right.
Most time, though, just probably like Sean Payton, like, she's right. I just don't admit it.
Right, exactly.
But
that is, I will admit that is true all the time.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a weird thing to say. It's a weird thing for Sean to not be, if he isn't going to be over Webb's shoulder. It's weird that he hasn't specified that to, like, assure everyone, to be honest, more like his coaches and stuff.
Right. Well,
because he lets his other coaches coach.
Like,
well,
he's but maybe he has privately, but like publicly right. Has. I don't know. JT, what
that's what I'm saying. I hope.
Yeah, JT, what do you think?
Yeah. Well, I think it's a huge piece of what this season's going to end up looking like. You know, I think we're going into the year, like, it's one of the biggest storylines to me, whether it works or doesn't work. The thing that I have a little bit of hope that it will work is that we've seen Bo Nix and Davis Webb both push back against Sean, and they've been able to maintain a good relationship. And I think what's going to also matter is if Sean gets overridden, whether those plays work or not. You know, if they push back,
or if Sean calls it and it sucks.
No, well, or if they say, hey, we're going to run that anyways, and we run what we want to run, and it's successful, then, you know, that's going to allow them a little more leeway to push back, you know, moving forward. And so,
does it, or does that undermine? And then Sean's like, "You mother!" Like,
I mean, you could say that if you think he's prideful in that way, then maybe it causes an issue. But I think more likely it just allows him to have more faith that, hey, these guys know what they're doing in their roles.
100%.
You know? And Bo Nix is able to work with Webb in a way that is productive for the team, and they see eye to eye. You know, I think you'd much rather see that as a coach, you know, even if you feel like maybe that wasn't the direction you were leaning, you know, as long as they're making it work together, then you feel a lot better about that, as opposed to, hey, they made the call, they overrode what I said to do, it failed, they continue to do that. Then that causes more of a stressful dynamic, I think, in that coach's room, in the locker room,
Yeah.
But I think, at the end of the day, these guys are pros. I think that you've got a young offensive coordinator who's got a chance to become an up-and-coming guy as far as, if he's successful within this offense, that he's got a chance to become a head coach at some point. I think you've got to allow him to stretch his wings. We'll just see if they can kind of keep that tension at bay.
Yeah. I mean, just let's remember, Sean got a 5-year extension. So it's not like he has to hold the reins because he's worried about his job. I think it is. So the reason why I think it's fuzzy is I think he wants everyone to know, I'm still the man.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm giving you play calls for the first time ever, and I identify as a play caller, right? Identification is key, and I'm letting you have this, but no, I still think I'm good, and I could do it if I want. I think there's a little bit of it's not that you're better than me, it's that I want you to have it.
Yeah.
I want you to have it, and if you mess up, I still got it. I can still do it. Whether or not he will or don't, maybe that part of Sean, I think absolutely is there. He has an ego, and I think to be at that level of good at stuff, you have to kind of be bordering on prick. And he,
with Sean, I don't think it's borderline. I think he's a prick, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah, fair.
And that's fine. I mean, Bill Parcells was a prick. Bill Belichick was a prick. You don't have to be.
I think Mike Shanahan on the field.
Yeah.
Right. It's not negotiable. This is, and the same as this is a poor reference, but in places where decisions are made now, right, on a battlefield, you do not want there to be a fray or a misunderstanding about who am I supposed to listen to.
Yeah.
Right. Nope. I need you to go do it right now.
Yep.
If it's but I got to go run it by you can't do that in a football play. Can't do that. All that stuff. More of that's kind of what I was getting at. Not that football is war.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's not. I played football. It's not war. So it's hard, but all the things. So I think that there's a ton of that. I think there's a ton of ego and him trying to massage it a little bit of he's an active participant in Webb's growth, and it's still my team. I think he had a say in it. He had to agree to it. I do think that probably was part of why he got the extension. I don't know that he gets the extension if he wasn't willing to do that. I don't. He wasn't, but to think none of this stuff is related, I think
is naive for sure.
Is naive, but I think he also knows if Davis is good, they'll win, and if they win, he's the coach of record. If they win a Super Bowl in Denver as the head coach, he's going to the Hall of Fame. And to me, I think that that's his goal. They're not going to be yeah, well, you only won the second one because Davis Webb came in and called plays. I don't think that that's going to be a talking point whatsoever. So I'm excited to see how it'll look like. It will be really interesting, though, because if that doesn't go well, for as much as the whole world was Davis Webb, he's getting head coaching stuff, all those things, and he flames with the relationship he has with Bo Nix, things like that, that would be something. And I'm guaranteeing that will not happen. They might not be great on offense, but I don't think they'll flame out. And so I can say those things. Don't think they'll go 6-11 because their offense reverts back to caveman days. Because I also think Sean wouldn't let them. I think if you had 3 days or 3 games in a row of scoring 10 points, then I think we all get it, right? They might have said out loud, you know what, we're just going to do it a little bit more communal. He's still the OC and stuff, but we know what that means. And you know what? Yep. Because I want to win a Super Bowl. F your feelings. I want to be at a parade, and I don't care which one of you calls plays, figure it out. And it's nice to be at a place like that with your team where we are at a place of just produce. I don't need to develop Webb. I don't need your ego to be. I just need us to run the best offensive plays we have with continuity, making sure we're managing the clock well, make sure that, the play caller can see the play sheet.
Yeah.
All those things. I love Sean. Sean is getting older, and it's harder to do things fast. And so good for him too to say, hey, you know what? I still love the game. I'm not getting plays in on time. Maybe we need to do something different. I bet that was a really hard pill to swallow for sure. And so kudos to him for doing it and not stand on that hill to die on. But yeah, that to me is the most interesting thing of the season. That is going to, if it's a hit, if the offense plays above where they were at last year, I think the defense. I think we all feel really about where the defense is at. The offense is really like a top 10 offense. I mean, they'd be scary. It's the middling of. It's playing down to competitions. It's not showing up for the first half of football games. That's the stuff that, like, if they do that as the Hunt did, they're going to be 9-8. Like, it just, the margin for error is that small in the NFL. But if they are in the top 10, they are 12-5, 13, whatever. And you feel really good about your opportunity to compete in the playoffs. I think teams are usually better when their coach can influence both sides of the ball. So right now, VJ has been kind of a defensive head coach. Sean doesn't go over there. Sean doesn't do stuff with the defensive group. So, fans could get perspective from some folks, and Sean would be a great person for that.
Here's a scary note for any NFL football fan that is not the LA Rams. Guess who worked out for the Rams today?
Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald.
Oh, I was going to go with Will Ferrell.
Nope. Aaron Donald, even worse.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna get on a soapbox. Give me 30 seconds on the mic.
Let's go.
It's such a wussy move. And I do not say like stuff like this very much. I don't believe in that. Aaron Donald, you could have been the piece last year to put them over the top if they win the Super Bowl. If Aaron Donald is a Ram last year, they win the Super Bowl. Do either of you disagree?
I mean,
I think they beat Seattle.
I don't know that it's that simple, but I think that he would be a huge factor for them.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
I mean,
so sure.
Okay. And so you could have been the piece for your second Super Bowl, and now you're coming back because Myles Garrett's on the team. Like, you're already the front runner now. And then now because you have another good guy, and like, they were already good. Like, they were already a top 10. Yeah, Jared Verse was good. Bryant Young was awesome. Brandon Fisk was great. Like, Kobe Turner. Like, they have really good players in the front seven. Front seven was the problem. It's the secondary that's the problem. So I would have come back because they got a secondary. But you're like, because Myles. Because now we have to see who is, like, more of the Greek god physique. Like that, though. That's probably it. He's like, now Myles is going to be the most fit Ram ever. Like, that can't be. So he's got to come back, do some push-ups. I just think it's saucy. So it's lame. And it wasn't like he's been out for 6 months, not even a year. He's been out for a couple. And then 2 years to come back in because Myles Garrett got traded to your team, like, your defensive front. It's not even like a quarterback came and you haven't had a quarterback forever.
Right.
Like, dear God. So I think it's a coward move. Like, it just is lame. It's like desperate. It's like, I don't even know all the things. And I would never say this to Aaron Donald's face.
Don't let Aaron Donald hear this.
I would never say this to Aaron Donald's face. He would whoop me. He would. And maybe there will be when he does his first and only.
He makes Make-A-Wish kids cry. I'm just saying.
No, he would make me cry. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, I would cry if I knew that he was on his way. He would never get here. But where's
I hear what you're saying.
And he is an alpha male. You know what I mean? Like, he is an alpha male. I've watched Hard Knocks where he's in it, and he is that dude. Like, I just don't understand the timing of it. It makes maybe you just missed the game, all the stuff. You didn't miss the game enough before Myles Garrett came in. All right, man. Anyway, I love Aaron Donald, the player, though. It's like watching him play. That's going to be fun, except for the week that the Broncos play.
Sure.
But it'll be interesting, man. Aaron Donald against Quinn Miners, and then you got Myles Garrett against his kryptonite and Garrett Bowles, which Garrett Bowles plays phenomenal against Mike Garrett. Go look at the stats.
I'm not disagreeing. You're calling him his kryptonite. I'm just like, holy crap! You're calling the guy who led the league in sacks.
Because he didn't play the Broncos. He didn't play the Broncos.
Yeah, he
play against Broncos. He doesn't get the sack title. Just saying. And asterisks. He got it in 23 games. Don't get it twisted. Miles, I'm just
making everybody mad.
But only if they're absurdly strong and frightening.
Right.
I leave kickers alone. They're people.
Right. Nick's not picking on the water boys. He's picking on the D-line.
No, those guys work hard. You know what? D linemen where it's at, especially the ones that are Greek gods, marble, stone. Dear goodness. But anyway, I'm off of it. It like makes me mad. I'm like seriously mad about it. And then I got to hear it. He's like doing that Aaron Rodgers, like, am I coming back? Am I not coming back? I'm gonna come work out, but only
yeah.
Like, what? We already have one of those. And you know what? I'm gonna say on my soapbox. Aaron Rodgers.
Go home.
Like, stop. Why do we even care? Pat McAfee's getting to the place where it's like, I can't even stand Pat. I love Pat. But then it's like, and then have him on there like Fauci. What? Bro, throw the ball. Throw the ball. Not even politics. You just spew stuff. Like, it's just stop. Old man lawn. All the things. Anyway. All right. I'm done. I'd rather have Jonathan Cooper's nonsense. And that's gross.
Yeah.
You know? Jesus Christ, guys. What are we doing here? Aaron Rodgers.
On that note, JT, take us out, man.
Yep. Quick shout out to a few guys we didn't mention, just real quick. Zach Allen's having a really nice camp. It sounds like he's playing really well. Surtain obviously looking good out there. Jaquan got a shout out from Zach Allen yesterday. Looks like some of these guys are. I mean,
Jaquan. Zach referred to him as Zach, like we're tight. Zach Allen referred to Jaquan as he's the guy that mixes it all, which I think that's pretty dope. You have all pros on the back end. You have all pro in the front. You have established linebackers, and it's like, oh, it's the undrafted kid at East Carolina.
Yeah,
like, that's the guy that makes us special. I thought that was super dope. Jonah Ellis has played really well, which makes me again feel really good about Coop. Coop, it sounds like, has done fine. I haven't heard him say anything or heard him call anyone, so that's good. And Garrett Bowles sounds like in his reps against Nick Benito with no pads look like Garrett Bowles. I'm just so happy for him as like a human being and being able to overcome his life challenges to give himself an opportunity to be in the NFL, but then to be the most hated man in Denver.
Oh, for sure.
To an all pro, like just a dude, like not just like he's move out a really nice career. Like he's top 100 good, like just kudos to him, man. It's such a cool story. I'm so glad that's how it turned out.
Yeah.
So RJ Harvey, I think, especially on this show and other shows on the Orange and Blue Network, a lot has been made of Jonah Coleman. So it's good to see that RJ Harvey has raised his game.
I feel attacked.
I agree.
No, I feel fine. So
okay, good. JT's fine. But like, I think a lot of love has been given this offseason to Jonah Coleman 100%. On this show and other shows. And rightfully so, because I'm excited for him too. Yeah. But I think RJ Harvey has raised his game, and I think he's going to carve out a role in that offense.
Yeah, I like it. In the end, they're both Jonah Coleman was the day 3 running back. So if you want to pick a hit, hopefully you'd rather have the more explosive version of the guy like that makes the hit, the second round pick. But yeah, I think that we wrote off RJ a little early. That all of a sudden he's just a pass catching guy. And I think that's a good call out, Chris. Like he ain't done. He's a young guy too. Like it was a year. Like let's keep it what it is. But it's good stuff, because Jonah Coleman, it sounds like he's fit in. His pass pro is right there. So if RJ is still like point of emphasis for the play, knowing that Jonah's kind of raised the floor, he's no Tyler Batty, if you will. And so I think that's dope. That makes me feel really good about the rooms for sure.
For sure.
Good call.
All right, we're going to call it here, boys. Thank you for being here, everyone, and thank you for your comments. We appreciate you, but we got to run. We will see you next week. We've got more Broncos coverage, some stuff on the way that we're excited about. So be kind to one another, be safe out there, and if you need a sports prescription, ask a doctor.
So from football to hockey, we're taking it higher. Join the celebration, feel that sports desire. So grab your crew, let's hit the show. My high sports symposium, let the good times flow.